Hi, this is The Greatest Story Ever Played. I'm Dan, and today we're going to be talking about kind words. The description for this game is a game about writing nice letters to real people. Write and receive encouraging letters in a cozy room. Trade stickers and listen to chill music. We're all in this together. Sometimes all you need are a few kind words. So, production-wise, this was developed by Popcannibal. There are two games that I saw that they previously developed are Girls Like Robots and Make Sale. As you would expect by reading that description or hearing that description, the game doesn't have a story at all. This is instead very experiential, stuff like that. And I thought that the experience was worthwhile enough that I did want to put out a little episode on it. Just as to, I don't know. I think this game is important. It's probably pretty helpful to people in general and probably right now, even more potentially. So, I guess that's why we got here. And so I just wanted to share a little bit about it. So basically there's three main functions of how the game works. One is that you can respond to letters. Usually there's a queue of around, 10, 15-ish of letters you can respond to. I think if you leave and come back, there'll be new letters to respond to. I don't know what it takes for the letters to move on and out, or I'm not exactly sure how that works. That would be something interesting. So one is you can just respond to letters people write. The other is that you can send a letter out yourself, and people will respond to you. And then the last thing is you can just say good things kind of into the world. And so that's maybe you more making a statement, and I'm not 100% sure how that gets seen by other people or how that works. I'm not quite sure. So I guess that those are kind of your three main mechanisms. When you respond to letters, they get signed just as your first initial. So mine are D, from D for Dan. So they get sent that way. When I write letters to other people, it's that, it's their letter and it's from S or from Q or whatever they put. So that's kind of how it works. And so the whole idea within the game is to, or not the idea, but it's anonymous more or less. And even within, when you go to write a letter, things like that, it says, hey, don't use identifying information. We want this to remain anonymous. Don't try to get in contact with people over this, basically, kind of deal. And so that's kind of your stage as to what you look like. And because of this, I'm not gonna talk specifically, at least, about letters that I've responded to or whatever, because that's their own privacy and that sort of deal. So I'm not gonna do that, at least specifically. Maybe I'll talk in general terms, but. So I guess that's how the game works as a whole. Something that also happens is so each you start out with, maybe 4 or 5 lo-fi songs that go in the background while you write letters, which is cool. But then every new day that you write a letter, so if I played for 5 days and wrote a letter each of those 5 days, I actually get given a new song from, there's a deer that delivers your letters. And so you'll get a new song added to your playlist, which is cool. Just adding more lo-fi music while you write. It's nice. Another thing that's in here is there are stickers that can get passed back and forth. So if you get written a letter by someone, you can say thank you by sending them a sticker, and vice versa. If you write a letter to someone, they may send a sticker back as sort of a thank you, which is cool. I think in all there might be 9 or 10 stickers, and they're fun and they're not anything crazy, but I do send them when people write letters back to me, and I get them sometimes, and so that's fun. I think I maybe have 7 of the stickers or something so far. So that's kind of all in all how it works. Also, it's like a super indie game. I think it costs $5 on Steam, and I've mentioned this before, but my computer is not very great, so I rarely play any games on it, but it plays this fine. There's zero issues. So, even if you've got kind of a shitty computer, you could still check out Kind Words. If this sounds like something you'd want to do, highly recommend it. So that's kind of your specifics of how this works. Now, I guess going more personal for myself, I've requested 2 letters, or I sent 2 letters out asking for things. The first one, I asked for book recommendations, just what do people think would be good to read right now, sort of thing. And I think I got maybe 5 or 8 responses, something like that, which was cool, hearing some different people talk about books they like and things like that. And then another thing I did was a little while ago I came across a video. It was like a TED Talk. I wish I remembered the title or the speaker, but I don't, so sorry, TED Talk. But in it, it talked about saying, like, being grateful, having gratitude. And in it, there was this kind of lesson that if you say 3 good things to yourself, 3 things that you're thankful for, what are 3 good things that are going on in my life now, have ever gone on, whatever, just that it's pretty helpful for, having a positive attitude of sorts. And so when I heard about it on the TED Talk, I ended up trying it out immediately, and I was like, wow, this was helpful. And then I've tried it a couple other times since and have been like, wow, this is really helpful to be like, oh, I'm thankful for this thing about my life, or that this bigger thing had happened, or this thing right now, or whatever. Just being able to find things to be thankful for, I found that beneficial. So my other letter I sent out was, tell me 3 good things that are going on in your life. And I think probably 5 to 8 people again responded with that, and it seemed positive. Like, it seemed like it was good for them. They seemed to like it. It was nice for me hearing good things that are going on in other people's lives as well. So that was pretty cool. Those are the only letters I've sent out so far. I might send more. I'm not sure what my plan will be, but I really liked doing it. It was nice. And on the other side, in looking through queues of letters, there's not like a outbox or whatever to see how many I've written, but I feel like I've probably written around 25, something like that. Like, I've written a fair amount, and they've ranged on a lot of things. Like, some of them have been like, what is music that you like right now, or do you have any game recommendations? So some of them have been smaller like that, and other ones have been more big, like, I'm having a really hard time right now, or, here's a relationship problem I'm having, or, I'm afraid of this thing or that thing, or, whatever, all sorts of stuff. And that was also enjoyable to try to write into those, and or being anxious. That was one I did write on a couple times, where people talking about like social anxiety or something like that, since that's relatable on my own end. And I was like, well, maybe I have a few tips that were helpful for me that maybe will be helpful for you. So I did write a couple that were of that vein of that to people, but it was cool. It felt like a really nice way to try to give to other people, and hopefully help, and we'll see. I don't know if it was helpful or not, since you don't get the continued correspondence, but I do like the idea of getting little nice things from people, and vice versa. So, and I think I did send 1 or 2 of like the big messages out that I'm not sure how those work exactly, that I mentioned, but sending out like shorter like positive phrases, like this too shall pass, or something like that. Like, I think I'd sent some stuff out like that. Just, I don't know, trying to bring general positivity to people, kind words as the game wishes. So yeah, that's a little bit of my experience without getting too in depth. If you would like to talk more about your kind words experience, like if you've played this and would want to talk more, I would be all for that. I'd love to talk about the game. I just didn't, I don't know, want to overstep boundaries or something like that in talking about this, but I wanted to be able to share enough. So that's kind of the functions, a little bit of my experience, and then I guess moving backwards a little bit to some general thoughts I have. One thing is I really love the soundtrack to this. I think in parentheses it's kind words, chill, lo-fi beats to write to or something like that. And yes, 100% true. Like, this game's description title is 100% what this game is. And so if that's something you want, this is exactly for you. If it's something you do not want, definitely not for you then. But I really like the soundtrack. It's pretty peaceful. It feels nice to, I don't know, just hear this music while you're trying to be nice to people. It's cool. There's a song called Lavender, which is my favorite one so far. And that came in the original pack, so I didn't have to write letters to get this one. This was one of the first, 3 or 5 songs or whatever. Really like that song enough that I put it on a playlist. So I'm all in on it. It's pretty good. I think broadly, I just really like that this game exists. I find it just pretty, I don't know, it's encouraging. It's nice that there's something that can do hopefully positive for real people in real situations. And whether that's just being able to vent online and throw something out like that, if that's what people need, that's great. Or if someone gets a tip from someone else that's helpful or just feels listened to, that's great. That's really cool. So I really like this, that this exists. I think this is a cool way for this to exist, and it's cool stuff. So yeah, really like that it exists. When I was doing this too, it really reminded me of Post Secret, except it's an interactive format, basically. I don't know if you guys remember Post Secret, but I remember reading those and going to the blog for it, or even reading the books, and it just as a way to anonymously share something that's going on. This felt like that, but you got to be a part of it, being interactive and being able to engage on stuff for people if it would be helpful to them, or that kind of thing. So I thought that was pretty cool as a thing. And so yeah, I guess that's just my general stuff for it. I do have a little bit of listener feedback. I asked people if they'd played Kind Words and any thoughts they had on it. Jacob on Twitter from Left Behind Game Club said, I have. It's fantastic. And Jacob actually is part of the reason I ended up checking this game out. A while ago, he was posting things that he was excited about, and one of them was how during these weird times, people are going to Kind Words more often, kind of thing, and it's been a helpful, coping mechanism, or stuff like that. It's been helpful for them. And I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about this game, because I'm 95% sure Alyssa Payne talked about Kind Words on her Just the Story podcast when that was going. And I remember I filed it in the back of my head and was like, ooh, I should check that out someday. And Jacob kind of reminded me of it. So pretty cool. Just kind of seeing how that came full circle, and I don't know, that we potentially all have influenced each other in some manner of hopefully helping other people inside this. So pretty cool. Cool game. So yeah, awesome, Jacob. And then Ben on Twitter said, it's kindly and wordy. But in all seriousness, I've played about 30 hours in a month and a half. It's refreshing to have positive interactions with people online, and a simple reply can mean so much. Talking from experience, more people should play it right now. Great endorsement by Ben here. That more people should play it. He's put a lot of time into it and found it to be helpful. That's great. And too, that is a great point, the positive interactions online. Unfortunately, a lot of online interactions can be pretty negative, and people just attacking each other over stuff. And it's not great. Sometimes being online really sucks. And I feel like this game certainly fits with, I don't know, my desired kind of online interactions. I know that my aim is to be super positive towards other people and welcoming and stuff like that. And it's nice finding something else that is a platform that shares that kind of value, because, you know, you don't need to tear each other down, but building into people is a good thing, and I like that this game provides that. So that's cool. Thanks for those thoughts too, Ben. I hope that it's continued to be helpful, giving and receiving and writing letters to people. That's cool. And yeah, I guess that's really all my thoughts on this game. It's a bit of a shorter one. Thanks for your time. If you'd want to get in contact with us, you can do that at TheGreatestStoryEverPlayed at gmail.com, or on our Twitter at StoryEverPod. Our website's TheGreatestStoryEverPlayed.com. You can have access to all our previous episodes, and all that other stuff is on there if you'd like to check it out. If you'd like to support the podcast financially, you can do that by going to patreon.com/TheGreatestStoryEverPlayed. For as little as $1 per month, that will give you access to some bonus topical episodes we do on there, such as things like our favorite Pokemon, or ranking the Life is Strange episodes, or whatever, favorite games from childhood, stuff like that. Those are on there. If you aren't able to do that but would like to help the podcast out, you can do that by rating and reviewing us on iTunes or Podchaser or wherever you get your podcast. That would be super cool. I think Podchaser is doing matching for the Meals on Wheels for maybe a week or two more. So if you haven't checked that out, if you leave a review on our podcast or anyone on there, they'll donate some, I think 25 cents per comment or whatever, to Meals on Wheels. So that's a cool way to help out podcast you like and Meals on Wheels if you'd like. So that's on there. And yeah, I guess that's all. We'll see you next time.